when I was a cadet, what's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or tolerate those who do. I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
After 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later. And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
I'm not going to give you his name.
So go through the countries again.
Well, starting with Iraq, then Syria and Lebanon, then Libya, then Somalia and Sudan, and then back to Iraq.
This guy found an unlimited money glitch, and you will not believe what happened. So this guy right here is Dan Saunders, and one night he was just out with his mates drinking when he went to the ATM to take some money out and found something pretty shocking. At the ATM, every time he would try and change money from his savings to his checkings account, it would come up saying error, keeping his balance the same, but the money was actually being withdrawn as well. He then called his bank to see if any money had been withdrawn, to which it hadn't. He later discovered that between 1 AM and 3 AM at this particular ATM there was a glitch, meaning that he could withdraw money without actually withdrawing money. Very quickly got thousands and thousands of dollars and was going out for drinks every night, buying extravagant things. He actually spent over $1.6 million over the space of like 2 months. What? He felt bad though, and realised the only way he could escape the situation was by being honest. So he actually called the bank and admitted to his crimes. But because he was truthful and handed himself in, he only served a year in prison, and then went straight back to working in his bar with no money.